I've been watching Edgerunners and I kind of wish these characters were our crew in the game rather than Johnny Silverhand. Alright, who am I kidding? Keanu is great, I'd never replace him. Since I covered the game at launch, it has changed wildly with new quests and systems and content, and a wealth of bug fixes have been added to the game. If you're like me and returning to Cyberpunk since launch for the first time, or even just jumping in for the first time yourself, here is everything that's been added to the game, all the new content and changes since then that you should be aware of. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything. There has been 6 major patches since the launch of Cyberpunk, and while I've been keeping tabs on the game since then, I may have missed something, so do let me know down below. We'll start with the Edgerunners content as it's the main thing that's fresh in everyone's minds. There are several locations in the game that are also in the anime because they share the same universe, so all the locations will more or less appear in both of the instances, but what we'll focus on here is the actual content that you can get, or the equipment, I suppose. The first is David Martinez's jacket. Now, once you've found David's apartment here, there will be a trash can right next to it that you can go over there, and there'll be a BD that will show you a snippet from the anime. You can skip this if you've seen the anime, it's just out of the anime, and it will start a quest. Now, this quest is basically just a text thread. If you haven't seen the anime, I highly recommend not to read it because it's a little spoilery, but you go through that text thread, and at the end of that text thread or quest, you will be able to go and get his yellow jacket that he wears in the anime, and you'll be able to wear it for yourself. The next is Rebecca's shotgun guts. Now, at the top of Corpo Plaza, you can find her shotgun here. There is a section where you can face the Arasaka Tower as you're kind of like climbing, and there's some monks near there, and you just walk to the left off the path and you'll find it in the bushes here. This is a really actually strong weapon. It deals poison damage and it's really powerful. It's got a massive recoil kick and it does heaps of damage, and even though I'm not spec'd into a power build, I'm a tech build, you can still just like shred with this gun. So if you're making a power build, like especially a power shotgun build, you absolutely want to go pick this up. You can just walk over there and grab it. You can upgrade it to legendary too, where it does come as epic initially. Next is the new customization options. Now, the main thing that I think is just a huge addition to the game is the transmog system. So at any of your apartments, you can go to the wardrobe and actually make your own outfits out of the clothes that you have. So that will allow you to, actually look cool rather than just looking completely ridiculous, as we have been putting up with for a very long time in Cyberpunk, especially at launch, when you're just wearing like, I don't know, Speedos and sunglasses because they got the best armor around that you need. So it's so much better to be able to go in here and transmog your gear. You can also actually change your appearance now as well. If you go to a Ripper Dog, you'll be able to have the option there to change your character's appearance. They've also added new hairstyles since launch, so you'll be able to pick from different options there. The Roach minigame was also just added in the last patch. This is a new minigame using the arcade machines that you find in Night City. There is some in your Northside, Japantown, and Glen apartments, but you can also find them in the bars around the city if you haven't purchased these apartments. If you see like arcade machines, just go poke around there and there's probably going to be one there. Now, if you're a CD Projekt Red and Witcher fan, you can probably tell where this minigame concept comes from, and I actually really enjoy it. This is a hilariously fun minigame. It's also on Android and iOS. Now, if you want to get the rewards out of this, you need to at least get top 5 to start earning some monetary rewards. Then if you get top 1, you get a unique Roach Whisperer outfit and a weapon glitch quick hack that you can use. Now, I am terrible at this game. I tried for like, 4 hours to get top 1, and the closest I get was top 3, but it's a lot of fun. I quite like this game. I might download it on my phone so I can get good and actually get the rewards in the game. That's most of the new stuff in like the Edgerunners content, but there has been many other things that have been added in the game since launch. The main thing is buying apartments, which we briefly just touched on, the apartments that you can buy. So there are many of these on the map and they're just marked. You just go there, like kind of buying a car, you can go there and just purchase them. Each of them have unique interactions in them. Some of you can like play guitar or do different things, like the arcade machine that's in the Japantown one. Plenty of cool things in these, and there's multiple that you can purchase in different districts. Speaking of the map, they have cleaned this up significantly. They've removed a lot of the pointless police encounters, like those NCPD marks you would see everywhere. These still exist in the game, but you have to like go near them for them to like pop up and be like, hey, there's like a police encounter over here. That just doesn't sound like much, but it's actually huge, because at launch, your map was like littered with all of these just like useless, pointless things to do that were just not really fun and just felt like clutter, and it was a mess, but it's so much better now. And it's the same with gigs, really. So you don't get like every gig just like right off the bat now. You have to actually earn the right to do a lot of gigs. So these gigs will gradually appear in sets as your standing increases with the fixes. You can hover over the fixes, which are now all marked on the map, and see where you're at in terms of these gigs, and completing them all for each fixer will also give you a special reward, and you can see that progress as you're completing them, and you can see those numbers kind of go up. But it's also worth mentioning that there are new gigs in the game. It's not just you're completing the same gigs, but like in different orders, or they unlock at different times. They've been adding gigs to the game with all of these major updates. There was 3 added even in the last Edgerunners patch as well, so you're going to come across new gigs that you can actually complete in the game. Moving on to some combat stuff, there has been been tons of balance changes and all sorts of combat stuff that's just too much to go through, and it's not really worthwhile going into that nitty-gritty detail, but there has been a heap of new weapons added to the game since launch. Melee weapons have been expanded on by a huge margin. There are now like neurotoxin knives, a punk knife, a claw, a razor, a cut-o-matic, plenty of all these different kind of varieties. The knife throwing has been expanded too, so when you throw a knife, you don't actually lose it anymore. It'll go on like a cooldown, it'll eventually like come back to you, and so you can make a knife throwing build or just a knife build in general much simpler in the game now without having to have millions of knives. There's plenty of other like rifles and submachine guns that have been added as well. You will find most of these weapons like out in the world, like their normal variants. There's a couple of legendary variants for some of these as well, like the headhunter knife and the blue fang, but there is plenty of others, and if you go to Wilson's shop, it's a good spot to check because there's new weapon mods and attachments as well. But he also carries the Umbra power assault rifle and the guillotine power submachine gun, which are new weapons that were added, but there's others that as well. Pretty much there's at least one weapon in like every kind of category that you can mostly guess, but if you haven't played the game since launch, you're probably not going to remember all of the specific weapons anyway, but there's a lot more variety now in the game. Perks have also been updated. If you're returning to an old save, you'll log in and you'll notice that all of your perk points were reset. This happened in patch 1.5 as they changed a lot of the perks and removed sub as well as added different ones, and there was a change to the stealth tree, which is now called ninjutsu, as well as adding a mitigation chance stat, and there's been a couple of other new perks added with 1.6, or some changes to perks, especially with poison stats as well. So if you want to make like a poison build, especially with the new poison knife or other kind of poison variants, you absolutely could do so, and I would love to return to my poison build that I made at launch because it might actually work now. That would be so exciting, but it's really cool to see these kind of build changes. It's the stuff that I really enjoy in these kind of games. There is also a large number of changes that came with patch 1.5 and 1.6 that may not directly be noticeable like by playing the game, but the overall feel of the game is much better now, just in terms of general control and AI improvements and things like that. Driving has been significantly enhanced. You can now do burnouts and actually kind of drift properly. Cars and motorbikes just handle better. Motorcycles, you know what I mean. Police and combat and NPC AI have all been improved, as well as the variety of NPCs that you see around the streets. There's lots more variety and kids and stuff that you'll see now, and they actually all react differently. They don't all just run away and do the same emotions and actions whenever you do things now. There's extended romance options for all of your main romanceable homies. There's new messages and interactions, like you can sleep in the same bed with them after their romantic moments. There's plenty of cool things you can do there, and cross progression. So if you own the game on multiple platforms, or say you're planning to jump into like the next gen version on the Xbox or the PlayStation, you previously played on PC, you'll be able to move your saves between the different platforms as well. There has also been countless bug fixes and graphical enhancements and changes and additions and all that kind of stuff since launch as well, that it's probably too many to label and you honestly just won't even notice or care. It's really about the things that we've just previously mentioned. They're the main stuff that they've added. If you'd like me to make a build or even just do some new stuff in Cyberpunk 2077, let me know down in the comments. I'm more than happy to spend more time in the game. I did enjoy my time back at launch, and I really am keen to jump back into the game. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is NorZZa, and I hope you have a great day.